Tonight's last question involves Officer Jensen. Incumbents with the understanding that you must show some constraint as to not place the city in legal jeopardy, please say as much as you can without simply saying you can't comment. The shooting of the Cynthia Clements by Elgin Police Lieutenant Chris Jensen must go through a series of legal investigations. If these investigations find that Lieutenant Jensen did not commit any crime, and the matter of whether or not to reinstate Officer Jensen finally comes before the council in executive session, can you offer any insight as to what would guide your thinking as you discuss this with the council and city manager? You each have 1 minute.
I think it's pretty iconic that I got this question. Growing up over in the Mulberry neighborhood, over here on behind the Elgin Mall, I had a bunch of run-ins with Mr. Jensen. My neighborhood wasn't the nicest, wasn't the cleanest. We had minorities over there. I personally been harassed and victimized and yelled at and cussed at by this officer. He lost my respect when I was 9 years old. He gained my respect back a little bit as I grew up, but then when I turned 19, he pulled me over again, illegally searched my vehicle. At that time, I didn't know it was illegal because I was a 19-year-old and I didn't know the laws. But after going to school and getting educated, I learned and realized what legal searches are and I don't have probable cause or consent, but not allowed to go inside your car. So I wouldn't want this guy back. He lost the trust of the city, he lost the trust of our community, and if he comes back, he's going to continue doing the same things he was doing before.
I think I've been pretty vocal on this issue. I think it's a matter of public trust. I was the first to advocate for an outside investigation to be done in terms of our internal investigation, that I wanted that done externally so that it is done as objectively as possible, and it sounds like we are moving in that direction. However, at the end of the day, we have to decide whether we want this type of judgment used in our community, and we have to listen to what we're hearing from folks in our community. And I think, as Anthony mentioned, we've heard a lot of people say that they've had bad experiences with him. We've also heard people talk about the pain that they experience and the lack of judgment that they feel that he used in this situation. I think we have to take all of that into consideration as we make our decision. It's not just based on what the Cook County State's Attorney comes out with or what happens in our internal investigation. There's a whole lot of things that you can do that are legal and within the bounds of your rules and regulations that will get you fired. Thank you.
I think I've spoken about this, that I don't feel it's appropriate to make additional comments. I will say what we're doing after this situation. So the police department has worked very diligently to just review their policies and procedures. We've looked at what we're doing to how we deal with folks that do have mental health issues. And I do see us making positive and impactful steps to improve how we do our policing here in Elgin. The other thing I will say is this: it's not all on the City of Elgin's police department as far as our responsibility for dealing with individuals with mental health. And I think that's something that's been lost in this topic as well. That it's all of our responsibility to work with people, to watch out for neighbors, to watch out for others that are around us, that we see situations that look troublesome. We all need to be a part of the solution. I think the Elgin Police Department is doing their part in that, and I think we as a City Council are doing our part as well as supporting them through the training that we provide for them.
Well, I tried to answer this question when a similar one was asked, I think the first one. I want to wait till we have both investigations back. I want to see what the evidence shows from those two investigations. I think we owe it to both sides to do that. I think we're going to get a lot more information that will help us understand more fully what happened. I've certainly seen the initial evidence that we have so far and, drawn some preliminary conclusions, but I am waiting until I think it's only the fair thing and the right thing to do to wait until we get all that extra information, more so than the conclusions from the people that are reviewing them. More important than that is getting the information, the statements, the measurements, diagrams, all this stuff that should come out with some more investigation. We should be able to review all that first. So that's what I'm looking for before making a decision.
Once again, it's a tragedy. It's a tough thing that we're dealing with here. Talking on the side of the officer now, I wonder if anybody here has ever even thought about the fact, do you think he got up that morning and said, I think I'm going to kill someone today? I really don't think so. I'm sure that this is weighing on him and all of his family as it does the other side. Whether he should be brought back truly starts with the Cook County State's Attorney, then it goes to the process. It has to go through those series before a judgment should be made by any council member. But there's some other areas that make me wonder. The fact that the Clements family has a lawsuit against the police department. What if he is found to be not guilty of a crime? Then if he's not put back on the force, then he can sue the police department in the city. So there's a lot of things to look at, and I think there's a lot that's still going to come out. I reserve my judgment until.
Like somebody had said at a city council meeting, Jensen did deserve to wake up with regret the next day. I know as someone who's not a police officer, I've never been in a combat situation. I don't understand the pressure that these people are in. However, when that night happened, Cynthia was robbed from going through due process, like everyone up here is saying that Officer Jensen deserves. I know this is an unfortunate situation. Again, something that I noticed at the last city council meeting was our police department and the representatives that came to show up for them didn't tout that the city and the police department has been proactive before this incident took place. They went after the body cams. They sought out grant money to get these body cams. There are other communities around here who have purchased the body cams and bailed from the project and put the body cameras in the basement because they knew eventually you have to deal with the fallout from a situation like this. And over the past year, our community has shown that we're able to come together, have tough conversations, and work towards putting proactive measures in place with our police department, and we're going to continue to do that.
I don't know Lieutenant Jensen, and what I'm going to say is hearsay that I've heard, so I can't speak to it from myself. But it's my understanding he was part of the task force that worked in Elgin back in the day of gang activity, large gang activity here, and that he was a contributing member to that. So I'm not sure he made any friends during that period. And as I said before in my opening question, being under pressure and having to make a split-second decision, unless you've been there, I don't think any of us can do it. So I'll reserve my judgment about whether this officer should come back. It is, as Steve said, a tragic situation. And I think as a community, we need to take a deep breath and let's get through it and do the best for all of us.
Pardon me if I'm a little bit repetitive. I do think, again, this is the overused word tragic, but there is no better word, I think. This certainly is a divisive issue. That bothers me deeply to see some of the angst that people are going through on both sides. I really do need to wait for due process to take its course as in regard to Lieutenant Jensen. I need to understand what the details are from the state police report, Cook County State's Attorney, whatever internal or external investigation details are produced. I will do my best as a council member, though, to help heal the divide that will exist no matter what decision is made. And again, I hoped this had never happened, but it did, and we need to move forward in peace and harmony as best we can.
We're down to the last part of the program, and everybody's all anxiously awaiting. I know the council members, delegates up here are. We have now closing statements from each of the candidates, and they have 2 minutes to win us over. We'll start with Ms. Powell.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to attend tonight's forum. We've heard from all the candidates tonight, and honestly, I'm not sure what you can gather from 30-second answers, but I just want people to know that the decisions that we make as city council members are rarely black and white. They're very complex issues, and they reflect the challenges that we face as a city. But they are equally as complex as the time that goes into examining how we deal with those issues. And while Elgin certainly has its share of challenges, I believe that Elgin has an even greater future and number of opportunities moving forward. My priorities for Elgin are accountability, economic development and job creation, safe and vibrant neighborhoods, and quality services and infrastructure. During the last 8 years, I have proven that I'm not afraid to challenge the status quo when needed, and I believe that I have fought for, I brought a unique and valuable perspective to the City Council. From initiating an ordinance that ensures that Elgin residents are employed on city construction projects, to bringing the 4th of July fireworks back to our town. It's been a source of pride for a lot of people. To spearheading the decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana possession so that our youth in particular aren't saddled with criminal records that could affect their ability to become the productive members of our community. I'm passionate about serving Elgin, and I respectfully ask for your vote in April or during early voting starting March 18th. Thank you.
First of all, thank you to the Wesleyan Methodist Church for hosting us tonight. I also want to thank the Octave for putting this forum on, and also thank you to you, the citizens of Elgin, for coming out. This is an investment of your time, and it's something that you didn't have to come out. And if you look around, there's not many of you here out of a community of our size, and so I applaud you for coming out. I wanted to touch up on a couple of topics that we didn't get to talk about tonight, and some of the things I'm looking forward to the next 4 years, and some of the risks that I think we have not addressed as well. Some of the things that I'm looking forward to do in the next 4 years is working on some of the technology initiatives we have here in the City of Elgin. I've got 20 years of IT experience in the private market, and looking really forward to moving forward the technology that we have for the City of Elgin, allowing us to be more self-service with a couple of departments, specifically our code, and allowing people to interact more electronically with residents here in Elgin. I think that would make a lot of efficiencies for residents as well as for city staff. Also, I just want to focus on one other thing, the quality of service. Quality of service is important, but it also has to be the value and a price point that we can afford. We talk many times about the police department coming forward with initiatives with the fire department, and sometimes they have ideas where I'm supportive, and sometimes I'm not supportive. And here's the reason why. You can't, service cannot be more expensive than what residents of Elgin are able to pay. We need to look at it and just know what Elgin is made of. We're a blue-collar community. And there's limits to what the residents of Elgin can afford to pay. And we need to be cognizant of that when we make decisions on the City Council. Over the last 6 years, I've been a fighter for that. I've been a watchdog for that. And sometimes a lot of that maybe is not made public, but I do a lot of that behind the scenes with working with city staff on budgets before they do become public, working with my fellow members on different initiatives to make sure that my voice is heard. And sometimes it's made in more smaller ways behind the scenes that's not well known. I also want to talk about some of the risks that we have. Our pension liability is still outstanding, as well as some failing infrastructure and some other things that we need to address. On April 2nd, I would appreciate your vote. I also want to talk to you afterwards and get your thoughts on what are the things that we can do in the next 4 years. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Try to do this with 2 hands, sorry. Well, thank you, Octave, and the Wesley Church, and everybody for being here. First of all, this is the first forum kicking off this season. I'm also seeking your vote. April 2nd is the regular election, and I believe early voting started today. If you go down to the county, believe it or not, it's starting as early as today. I'm seeking a 4th term on City Council. I have lived here my entire life. I have decided to come back and make a career here and establish myself here and really get involved. I would suggest that you pick up my piece out and back and see what I've been involved in and what I have been involved in the past. I think that this community has great potential, but I also think we are facing some risks. One of the things I ask is, what do you think about the current budget? I think it's very lean. I think we have to keep it lean. We have to keep it efficient. and it's under threat, as was mentioned by Toby. We have a state government that has to adjust its budget, and we're facing that. As a matter of fact, I've got the budget summary from Governor Pritzker from yesterday trying to figure out how that is going to affect us at local government. Our income tax share, particularly, and other issues as well. We have to continue to try to catch up on our infrastructure. And Toby touched on that, and that's a dilemma we all face as elected officials. Are we staying ahead of the potholes, or are we falling behind? Are we staying ahead of the sewer separation that we have to do, or are we falling behind? So we constantly have to juggle those issues and make decisions and try to do the best we can. Other things I'm running on is, as Toby mentions, technology. We have kept our staffing level the same, or essentially the same, and it costs us 6% less now than it did in 2006 before the recession. So that's an example of how we're trying to be efficient with your money, get the same amount or more done, city services that you expect, and not charge you more money. And one of the ways we do that is we invest in technology. About 75% of the budget is salaries and personnel. If we can do more with technology, we can avoid running those costs up. So thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Elgin Octave for hosting tonight's forum, and I'm especially appreciative of everyone attending this evening, of you out in the audience. Openness and transparency, we brought that up, it's key ingredients to building accountability and trust. I've spent my career being accountable in the mortgage business and being accountable in more than 24 local clubs, groups, and non-profits in Elgin. I've lived in Elgin my entire life. I've attended our local schools. I went on field trips. I've made friendships that lasted a lifetime. And throughout my lifetime of experiences in Elgin, I've learned what makes our city such an amazing place. Through the years, many people have asked me why I spend so much time volunteering for community causes. And now they ask, why are you running for city council? Well, the answer is the same, and it's a simple one. I want to give back to the city that's given me so much. I've worked with all the people on the current council in one way or another. They're all qualified and dedicated to doing what's best for Elgin. We spent a lot of time tonight answering questions about the issues that Elgin is facing. Now we need to support someone who only is for Elgin. I have no outside agenda. I have no contacts in Springfield. I have no interest in doing anything other than serving the people of Elgin. I'm not beholden to special interest groups. You are my special interests. I want to work to make a great city even greater. I'm a two-time Elgin Image Award winner, a two-time Elgin Mayor's Award winner. I'm a member of the Elgin Heritage Commission. I'm all in on Elgin. My family came to Elgin in 1932. They were part of the city's blueprint from the day they arrived. My entire life I believe that there's no higher calling than public service, and I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for an opportunity to make a positive difference in your life. I'm asking for an opportunity to help improve Elgin. I promise to be available and accountable. I'm Steve Thorne, running for City Council, the 2-year term. Thank you all.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up. Not only for showing up tonight, but for all the other times that we don't get to see you participating in your community. One of the legs of my campaign is going to be gratuity. I'm just honored to be part of a community that's brought me in, whether that's been at ECC and helped me take risks that I wouldn't have considered myself possible to do. It's been an honor to serve that community. I want to continue stepping forward and serving Elgin. But as somebody that has been at ECC, has worked and was a student from U46, we don't operate in silos. We need people who are going to reach across the aisle, reach out to other taxing bodies, find out where we can collaborate. I mean, that's one of the pillars of our strategic plan is collaboration, and I don't believe that was limited to just within the city. So the other part of my campaign messaging is urgency. Right here in Elgin, we're continuing to grow, but residents are fleeing Illinois. So combine that with the pension issue that we have at the state level, I think everybody here has some familiarity with the amount of money that you're taxed. And we're among some of the highest in the state. So that's why I'm proposing a partnership with ClearGov, because first and foremost, we need to know where we stand. And we all need to know where we stand, not just elected officials who are here part-time. And that will go back to the other point that I made, is that I think we are ready as a city to be represented by full-time employees. Not only for the sake of accountability, but it's not fair to city reps to ask them to do full-time work for part-time. It's not fair to city management to be told, you need to provide or you need to be able to provide bold measures for us to take. Meanwhile, they're called the city manager's office. It's not fair to them. We need city council that is encouraged to do, to take on bold measures, but also held accountable for the decisions that they're making. So I hope you reach out to me beyond this. 2 minutes is coming up. Again, my name is Dustin Good, incumbent or a challenger for the 4-year seat, and I hope to get your vote on April 2nd.
Again, my name is Jerry McHugh. I'm a candidate for the 2-year term, and I'm hoping that when you review the things that I am doing right now in Elgin, you will see that I am already entrenched in the process of working at a certain level in the city. I think those things as planning and zoning really prepares me to take on the role of a 2-year city council person, someone who can hit the ground running and be effective from day one. As a registered nurse, I believe in an interdisciplinary approach, and that means taking information from all sides of an issue and coming to a consensus. I bring to you a proven person who has taken a building in this beautiful downtown area. My husband John and I bought the building. We decided a concept for it. We developed the plan. We financed the project. And I think if you've ever been down there, it's the home of Blue Box Cafe right now and Salon Couture. I hope that shows you the commitment that we made to Elgin at that time. So going forward, I think I have a lot of things to offer you. I love the City of Elgin. I've made my home here. And I would love the opportunity to serve as a city council person. So if you'll vote for me on April 2nd for the 2-year seat. Also, I have a website at jerrymchugh.com. It gives the full story. You can take longer than 2 minutes to read it, I promise you. And I have a Facebook page, Jerry McHugh for Elgin. I'm not a great Facebooker, so don't expect a lot of the dazzle there. But if you could at least go and read my story, and if you'd like to chat about anything, I'm available. Thank you.
I too want to thank Wesley Church and Octave and all of you for coming out. It's kind of sad to realize sometimes that there aren't a lot of folks that vote in these consolidated municipal elections, roughly 7,000 or so each year. I was hoping that it would be more this year, and let's hope it will be. Talk to your neighbors and friends. It's important to vote. I'm running for the City Council to hopefully complement the talent that remains on the council and also to bring in some fresh perspectives. I really think that there are some key challenges that we need to face going forward. The proper staffing of the Elgin Fire Department and some other staffing issues within the city that I think need to be addressed. Infrastructure was something I ran on in 2015. We are far behind in repairing and replacing our streets, and of course our sewer separation projects are ongoing. There was a time in 2015 when some candidates running at that time proposed that we do a proactive infrastructure program to fill cracks and other things that would prolong the life of the city streets. That never happened, but if I was on the council, I would try to get that going for us. I am on the Park and Recreations Board almost for 3 years now, and I have found that extremely enlightening, serving with people like Carl and other folks that are on the Parks and Recreation Committee. I have literature in the back. You can contact me via email or via Facebook, and please do. I always respond, even if I don't like what you're asking me. And I do appreciate your time, your patience, and I would appreciate your vote on April the 2nd. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Anthony again. I believe that I will bring leadership, battle-tested leadership to the Elgin City Council. Leadership that I value dearly. one thing, one aspect of it is courage. Courage is something a person needs to stand up for what's wrong when their people are wrong, or policies or laws that only affect a certain individuals. I also believe integrity is a strong character of leadership also. If you have integrity and your people trust you and your citizens trust you, them themselves are going to start doing integrity. They'll stop lying, start being more truthful, and that by itself will better our community. As you guys know, I've been stressing is about our youth. We need more money budgeted towards them. I'm going to donate my salary to a non-for-profit, if not start my own, so I know exactly where those funds are going. And everything I've done in life, I've succeeded. I've never failed at anything. I was failing at high school, ain't gonna lie, but I ended up graduating from Elgin on time with 40 credits. I went to the Marine Corps, I beat all that, went to Afghanistan, came back, finished college, 3 years for a 4-year degree. I've done a lot of things. I've never failed at life. And I've heard a lot of people say love. Love is an emotion, love changes. I'm loyal to the city. Loyalty is an action. Loyalty is something that you can show when you do it. Love, you can tell somebody you love them 1 minute and turn around the next minute and talk about them. But loyalty is forever, and loyalty is shown. And if everybody's plugging their social medias, I'm going to plug mine. You guys can find me on Facebook. It's Anthony Ortiz, ECC, all together if you search it. Or you can just search Anthony Ortiz for Elgin City Council. And I hope you guys vote for Anthony Ortiz on April 2nd or March 18th over at the Elgin Township. Thank you.
Let's have a round of applause for all of you.